Hi, my name's Joe. I'm the editor for the YouTube channel Answer in Progress, and today I thought I would just walk through and edit the most recent video that we did and show you what I do and how we make it, in case anybody finds that interesting or useful or just entertaining. Let's take a look. Where to begin? By the way, I don't really know what's interesting. It's kind of an interesting thing about people talking about their work. I could talk forever about something that's really boring and skim over something that seems really interesting to you. So if that happens, let me know. Tell me what is interesting about this, because I'm not really sure. Okay? Right, let's go. So this is my Premiere Pro setup. I learned to edit using Final Cut. The first time I installed Premiere was the first time I did an Answer in Progress video. I said that I'd used Premiere before, and I hadn't. I was lying. Because I learned on Final Cut, I just set up my Premiere to look exactly the same. So you got the source material stuff over here, big window screen, effects, controls, effects down here, and timeline in the center, and I've never changed it. Also, you'll see I've got a lot of custom colors going on. You can set your own colors, and I hate it. I hated the default Premiere colors. So I found a color palette online that I liked, this very autumnal, washed out kind of thing, and made it. Can you export save label color preset autumnal? I'll link this if you want my colors. I'll find a way of sharing this. But anyway, it makes it much more nice to look at, and I'm the person who has to look at it a lot. So, the intro call. Let's go.
How much do you spend on streaming every month?
How much do I spend?
Yeah, this is
Or how much do other people spend on my behalf?
Thank you.
So, intro calls and calls in general. This is where my labels come in handy, because we've got orange for Sabrina, because she wears an orange hoodie in a profile picture on Slack. It just seemed like the Sabrina color. Melissa, tan, because she wears stuff that's black, white, or tan. And Taha is teal for the color of his wall 4 years ago. But it just seems like the right color for him still. And I always use these colors for them, for the three of them. And it helps me really quickly tell what I'm working with. We have the 3 video streams all lined up, and I put them underneath a template that I made, which is a 3-call vertical template. Just made this in Photoshop, cut out 3 rounded rectangles with drop shadows. It makes it look like a nice modern call UI. On top is a shape layer with a rounded rectangle in it that's doing the blue outline for whoever's speaking, and it also has their names to fake up this sort of Google Meet UI. These calls usually run on for like half an hour, and we get them down to, what is it, like 45 seconds here? We try and just keep it to the fun stuff. We can save the plot for voiceover and talking heads and stuff. It's all vibes when it's the 3 of them.
I open it every day.
That's crazy.
It might be. I ended up doing the math, and it turns out I spend 97 Canadian dollars and 86 Canadian cents every month to watch videos on the internet. The thing you're doing right now for free. But the funny thing is,
this was a fun thing to do. This is the fake YouTube UI. In browsers, you can go inspect source. It'll open up like a code box that's like the HTML of the website. I don't know if it's actually HTML, but whatever. And you can just like move around and select bits, and you can pick what you want to change. And so what I did here was changed the title to I fixed streaming, and I changed the publish date to the day that this video was actually going to go live, and then I wrote a fake description for what it might be, and then that just changes on the website, and I took a screenshot of that, cut out the video window. Yeah, this was the airlines video, and then you cut out a hole, and there she is. Bit revealing of my sidebar. You got to be careful of that sometimes. I remember once I did this years ago, and somehow Jordan Peterson ended up in my sidebar, and Sabrina was like, don't include that. I was like, what? Who is he? Now I know who he is. Yeah, that wasn't good. John Oliver, Drew Gooden, Tom Nicholas, I don't know what this Embracing the Chaos is. That's an Answer in Progress video. That's a Mr. Who's the Boss. Not too bad. Nothing too distracting. It does reveal that I'm in the UK, though, because Tom Nicholas is talking about Manchester by-election.
The state of streaming on the internet right now, you're gonna find a half dozen video essays with millions of views saying, we gotta go back to piracy, but at risk of sounding like a...
All this screen recording. We used to do a big, like, CRT screen effect where it would have, like, the color aberration and the lines and the blurring, so it would look like it was being filmed on a screen. And this video... because Premiere changed something and they broke one of their effects, which really annoyed me, it meant that you can't do the CRT effect quickly in the timeline the way that we've been doing it, and I haven't found a solution yet. I should probably do that today, actually. I'm kind of procrastinating by doing this. I could be doing useful things, including that, but I'm not, and instead I was going to run everything through After Effects, but we got to the end of the video and I thought, am I going to really run through every screen recording in this video, and there's a lot of them, through After Effects? Or do we kind of like it clean? Is that crazy? And Sabrina was okay with it too, and so we just went without the screen recording effect. We just went with actual screen recordings, and I don't know, I kind of like the way it turned out. So maybe that's what we're going to do. Maybe we're going to ditch the CRT. Or maybe we were just being lazy. Other fun stuff here, which is this section of clipping through all of them. It's quite simple. What you do is take high quality screen recording or screenshot. I think these all came from a screen recording of the things you want, of the word you want. You need to focus on the word.
We gotta go.
Keeping piracy in the center there. You put the first one where you want it, so that the word you want, piracy, is in the middle, nice and big, and then you make a copy of it and drag it out over the entire sequence, over all these clips, and then put it to 50% opacity, like this. That is your guide layer. So you have this other one underneath, and you want the word you're focusing on, piracy, to match. So you would scale it up like this, put it down there, there. Okay, it's a bit big now. Make it smaller, make it fit. Luckily, these are all from the same web page, so it's the same font. So you can match it perfectly if you're really careful. Oh, I've gone a bit small. Up like that. And then you do the same thing for all the clips that you want to clip through. And then you can remove the guide layer. And there they all are with piracy in pretty much the same place. And then what you do, if all your web page backgrounds are white, then it's really easy. If not, then you have to be a bit more particular, but you just make a white layer and cut out a mask around piracy, and you set the opacity somewhere. I've got it on 36, but it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to wash out things that aren't the word you're focusing on. And then you cut through.
We gotta go back.
It looks really cool. Sabrina's really good at filming talking heads from all these different angles, so she'll write in these bits where she talks to a B cam and then do a transition.
Ask me what's on this hard drive. Now, I do think there's a valid case.
So in the actual source footage, she turns off
this hard drive. Now, I will.
And then in the next clip, it's like she knows that she's coming in for it.
Now, I do think there's a valid case for archiving
so
anymore. Don't ask me what's on this hard drive. Now, I do think there's a
So they cut together pretty well. That one wasn't perfect, to be honest. The breath isn't quite right, but it was the best I could do. Blame Sabrina.
I don't mind using my disposable income on.
And then she had all this overhead stuff of this remote and this cutting out paper stuff, which was all really nice. Really cute homemade vibes. I really liked it. We have the archive. I need to have a hay fever tablet. I keep rubbing my nose. For this archival stuff of Sabrina, she filmed lots of it on her camera so that we had this way into it, but we didn't want to keep it all on the camera because it would have been a bit boring, like the frame wouldn't have moved enough.
That was all of the time.
I am finally 100% caught up with Castle, and I have no more purpose in life.
They shaped my interests and personality in comically obvious ways.
Whoever I'm Rick Castle. Castle. I really am rugged and handsome, aren't I?
I spent my days
It is crazy that Sabrina has been a YouTuber for, 10 years more? So there is so much archival footage if we want it. Like, it was really good for the Millennial Grey video as well, because she was talking about her apartment and the decor that she's had in there for 8 years or whatever. And we had all the evidence to go back to. And here it's nerdy and quirky evidence. I didn't actually watch her videos for a long time. Like, it was only right before they started Answer in Progress that I discovered who Sabrina was. But it does feel like a weird kind of privileged position where she sends me all these unlisted videos and I'm like, ha, there are old time fans who would want this, and I'm the person who gets to watch it. Little montage sequence, research montage. We love a research montage on this channel.
love TV. So I want to figure out how to bring back the parts of the streaming experience that I love.
This is the stuff that brings me joy. I don't know if it was the most effective this time around, actually. Like, I don't like snap my fingers and be like, perfect edit here, but I do my best. So here, it's quite rhythmic with the music. Actually, I'll do that in a minute. So
I want to figure out how to bring back the part.
I tried to get the can open to like fit the rhythm, so the drums are going. I wanted these sound effects to fit the beat, to fit the groove.
So I want to figure out how to bring back the parts of the streaming experience that.
And that hitting the enter key is on the snare.
Of the streaming experience that
I wish I'd put an enter key sound in there, actually. It would have been something like this. Oh, audio time units. Come on. Why is Premiere so annoying? All right.
Streaming experience that.
Oh, that would have been good, actually.
Back the parts of the streaming experience that
That would have helped it. Okay.
TV. So I want to figure out how to bring back the parts of the streaming experience that I loved as a kid.
Oh well. There's always something you discover later. Anyway, I find that like trying to keep it percussive, keep it syncopated, get things on the beats really helps things flow. Like I say, I'm not sure this example was the best. It would have really helped if I'd remembered to put a sound effect in there like I have just now, but yeah, in general, I think that really helps montage sequences. And it's fun. It makes editing fun. Like, it can be a bit of sometimes you can get yourself in this place where it's like, oh, I've got to do this. But if you find these ways of keeping it fun to you, then that's really beneficial. I also remembered this music was a technique that I wanted to try for this video, which is I've always been really cautious of trying to use different tracks in a video. Like, you don't want to use the same track twice in a video because it'll get weird. But I had a realization that movies don't do that. In film soundtracks, you have leitmotifs and things that call back, and it's through that repetition that you get emotion. I can direct you to several sideways videos about this, because music builds associations throughout time, and you remember things, and your brain remembers things even if you don't consciously remember them. So I found this track that I wanted to use for the end of the video, because we had this scene, we had versions of this scene, which is something I should mention. We sometimes shoot a rough version of a scene and then edit it together just to check the video works, and then go and record the proper one. Good practice to do if you're a video maker. But yeah, I drafted it and I put this track in because it's important to get the final track right, because it's the emotional climax of a video. And so
academic way that we could put it is, well, if you change the mode of production, you change what can be made. And if you change what is made, you change the culture.
It's kind of weird knowing that the thing I loved about cable, but they had way more airtime to fill. So there was space for things to get a little weird and incentive to make.
And so I thought if you could seed that track in earlier in the video, it would enhance the sort of full circle feeling of it. It does feel like the ending because you've already set up this piece of music earlier in the video. I would have liked it to be one of the first pieces in the video, ideally, but it wasn't fitting right. So it did end up being a bit later on than I would have liked, at like the 3-minute mark. But it fits. What does it thematically tie with? Where it first comes up is this 10 years ago bit.
One clip.
So I'm eventually going to get up and go edit yesterday's daily vlog and probably just watch the Mindy Project on my second monitor. But that's about all for today. If you want to see me keep making daily vlogs, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.
That was 10 years ago. The only thing that's different is my glasses. My entire life has been making YouTube videos and watching TV, except I'm not watching TV anymore. I think my problem is that there's just too much friction.
So it's like I tied it emotionally to this concept of the disenfranchisement with TV, with like, I used to love this thing and I'm finding it hard to love right now. So that's the context in which this piece of music first shows up, and then you bring it back at the end to like tie in with that feeling of it's changed, but maybe that's okay. Maybe this change is just inevitable and I need to stop clinging to the past. So actually, the more I talk about it, the better it works. As with so many creative decisions, they're a bit ham-fisted, but then the more you the more you intellectualize them afterwards, the better they are. So that track comes through here.
Into another world because it feels like I'm stuck in traffic trying to get there, but I want to go to there.
And then I even take it through the research montage.
TV. So I want to figure out how to bring back the parts of the streaming experience that I loved as a kid to find my way.
We use stems from Epidemic Sound, is the provider of the music and sound effects that we use, and they provide stems, so you get bass, drums, instruments, and melody, which can be very arbitrary in however they choose to separate those out. But sometimes it's really useful to have those because you can basically remix tracks. And that's what I've done here quite a lot. So here with this track, I have the instruments track with no drums and no bass. It just makes this kind of haunting and then I've moved a bit of it down here onto this 5th audio track. So over here, the 5th audio track, music track, is the reverb track. What is it? A Great Hall Studio Reverb, 100% wetness, and that's really useful. I got this from a friend. You set up a reverb track to just put things onto, and it helps you end tracks. Like, if the track doesn't end where you want it to, but you want to fade it off and have it echo away, this is the best way of doing that to make it smooth. Also, I guess while we're here, I'll quickly show you my track layout, because this might be a bit weird to some people. I have 4 dialogue tracks up at the top because there are frequently 3 people speaking at the same time, and you always want a spare track just in case you need to move stuff around quite a lot. And then I have a muted track here, which doesn't really serve any purpose apart from just like psychologically it helps you distinguish, because it's grayed out. You lock it like that, and it just acts as like a buffer between, okay, this is where the dialogue is, this is the 3 sound effects tracks, and these are the 4 or 5 music tracks. And the what do I have here? So for the dialogue tracks, I have a stereo expander that's actually just centering it to the center. It's not doing stereo widening, it's doing the opposite. It's making anything that's stereo into mono. Some cameras that they use record in stereo, and it's very distracting when suddenly all the dialogue that's been in the center starts moving around your ears. If you're wearing headphones, that doesn't feel right. So I squash it all to a mono filter that's just getting rid of anything really low end, that's just unnecessary noise that like swells up the mix. I have a compressor I don't really adjust this as much as I should, but I just have a preset in the project that it does it every time, and a limiter doing similar thing, just making sure it never gets too loud. I should probably revisit these settings. It's been a long time since I set this template project up, but yeah, I have a music and audio production background, so this is all stuff that I think about more than most video editors, I think. I don't know, but I gather video people don't really know much about audio, or as much as they should. It's the impression I get from what they say about themselves. So maybe I'm more unique and unusual in this, but I'm a very audio focused person. And then yeah, an example of that is the music tracks. I have them all set to -20 by default, so I don't need to keep turning them down by 20 every time I drag them into the project. And I also have stereo expander on these, and what I'm actually doing is widening the stereo field. So by default, a music track will be, it's coming through both ears and it's filling like the center and the left and the right. And what this is doing is doing clever illusory stuff to make it take away from the center. It's like you're pulling away the curtain a bit, so it's like it feels like the sound is coming just from the left and the right and leaving the center open. It's really hard to describe, actually. It's a bit like pulling open a curtain. It's on the sides but not in the middle, and that leaves room in the center for the dialogue to stand out more. Then it's not fighting with the music so much. It makes mixing easier, and I do that for all music tracks on the projects just by default, by having the tracks set up like this, so I don't need to think about it. Just a little trick you might like to use if you ever feel like music is competing with your dialogue too much. That's one way of keeping the music loud but keeping the dialogue clear. All right, let's move on. I've spent way too long talking about this. We have another little research montage, screen recordings, same old stuff, and then the green screen section. This, I suspect, is what people will want insight into. What I do for green screen days is I lock in. Sabrina sends all the footage. It's just her in front of a green screen saying the thing. Sometimes doing a face, sometimes doing an action, and then says, Joe, go crazy. And I do. I have to source everything myself. I have to come up with the ideas, come up with all the jokes I can in the edit. And usually what I do, and this isn't good, I don't really recommend this, but it really works, is get high on energy drinks and sweets. Just like sugar rush and go mad and just roll with anything. It's like, it's like nothing else. I get single-minded and I come up with stuff that I would never come up with just normal me with a coffee or two. Don't really recommend it, but if you want results, it does work.
My lobster too buttery! My steak too juicy! My content too abundant! That's what I sound like. And you know what? I'm right, because it is a problem for two reasons. First, we have the paradox of choice, or overchoice, or choice overload. Bit of an ironic name.
I don't know how I'm going to talk through this at all, actually, but the pickaxe thing, I did lots of manual motion tracking here. I think you can see it all in the timeline, just like all these keyframes. I just did that manually. No After Effects shit. Just doing it myself. The old-fashioned way. How my grandparents would have done it, you know? This was weird. I don't know if any editors are watching, but for the longest time, I just had an adjustment layer. Zooming in, doing transform and zooming in close on the scene that I set up here, which is, the cave background, Sabrina, the rock, and then big zoom on Sabrina's wiping the sweat off her helmet. When it came to final export, I thought, do you know what? This looks crunchy as hell. I don't like zooming in on pixelated Sabrina. So I just moved up the original video file up to above the adjustment layer and matched it. So on the final frame, pixel, clean, pixel, clean. And for some reason, when I was exporting, it would freeze on this for ages. It was like 5 minutes to get through this. When it took like 5 minutes to get here, like everything else was going really quickly, and then it slowed down. And then there's another example later on where I do the same thing, and it did it there. I don't know why. Can anyone tell me? I'd like to know. I needed an example of a shop because Sabrina had a box and was being an angry customer returning something or being upset about something. I went to Black Books, was the first shop I could think of. The Channel 4 sitcom Black Books. So I just put her in there. So that is Sabrina behind the desk. Then I masked a bit of the desk on top of Sabrina, so it's a bit like she's behind it. And then Sabrina the customer. And then an adjustment layer. Zooming in. It's not perfect, but it looks good enough for a 2-second joke. This is my favorite joke.
To your watch list. Wow. Nice. So understimulating. Then it just tells.
This is where being high on sugar helps. It's like, put them in a theater. Sabrina says, so understimulating. What if she's just standing at the back of the theater and you zoom in on so the image is ridiculously crunchy. And there she is. I don't know. Makes me laugh. Stuff like this. She says simplify. She says focus. Just go to Storyblocks and type in the words simplify and focus, and it works. Sabrina graphics. What is there to say about this? Sabrina's amazing at animating, and she just does this stuff. I wish I could take more credit for it, but I just do the sounds when it comes to these bits. She does all this After Effects work of making it look really cool. And then I actually had a nightmare doing the sounds for this video because I was away from my desk and I only had AirPod headphones with me. I was back at home in Yorkshire, and when I was in Logic, it was just breaking all the time and it just wouldn't work with my headphones. So I had to struggle through of trying to make sound effects without being able to hear the project. I was like, this isn't working properly. So I did all the sound effects in here pretty much in Premiere, and I was just a lot more limited in what I could do, but it was okay. I'll show you some of this stuff quickly. I did quite a lot. This was when I was in Logic. Very fun. It's some of my favorite sound design I've done, actually. Was the effects processing I did there. I don't have time right now to talk about it, so maybe I will do a video specifically on that if anybody is interested. Then we had all these examples towards the end of TV shows. We wanted a way to cite them, and what I suggested and actually looked really cool was copying the Netflix content warning. This is an exact copy of the line, and the content guidance contains depictions of self-harm or whatever. We just did that for the citations of these clips instead, and it looks so clean. I want to keep using that in the future. More TV shows. This was funny. We had to find an example of HBO boobs, and I spent like a whole afternoon like trying to Google around and find a clip on YouTube that would have an example, but obviously on YouTube they would be censored, and it's also really hard to find specific scenes. Like, I needed something from the 90s, and I didn't really watch any of those shows, so I don't know what I'm looking for, and I'm like Googling HBO nudity trying to find, like, it was a very weird day of having to Google around trying to find this stuff, and eventually our creative producer Sean got involved and was like, oh, I know, I can find a bit of The Sopranos and screen record that. So it ended up being a two-man hunt for boobs while Sabrina was busy writing or filming or something. Very strange day. Same thing here of the thing earlier of clipping through all the HBOs. This one looks cooler because it's all these different fonts and things and newspaper clippings. It just looks really cool when that happens. Really analog feeling. Getting through to the end, all these TV shows. This was fun. Easter egg for me. Oh, there's one Easter egg earlier on, which is when it cuts to an ad break It's one of the commercials for toothpaste from the toothpaste video. I really enjoyed that. And then this is just a personal Easter egg. Sabrina mentions Heartstopper and these other TV shows, and I used the trailer for the Heartstopper Forever movie. That trailer was edited by my friend, so I wanted to use that. And then she, as an editor, is always obsessed with match cuts of like what cuts perfectly together. She's very good at montage stuff. And I was able to honour that by going from Heartstopper. You have Charlie, you have them touching fingers, then you have two people touching feet. Oh shit, we're in heated rivalry. How did that happen? Thematic connections, visuals, video editing. More examples of TV programs coming through. We're in the final scene, and we have this music. Like I was talking about, we bring back the same track as before. It comes in the faded, in the echo. And then subconsciously, you're realizing something in your brain is like, this is familiar. I remember this from earlier. And you're thinking about, I used to not watch, like Sabrina being like, I used to watch TV programs all the time, but now I don't, and it doesn't feel the same. And that's what we're saying right now as well. That it doesn't feel the same, that things have changed, but maybe it's time to grow. And then I take out the drums because it was a bit much. It feels more like a resolution without the drums like driving it forward. It feels more reflective. And your brain knows that we're at the end of the video, and it's appropriate because we're at the end of the video, this video. And haven't we come on a journey? 20 minutes ago I was talking about this track, and I'm talking about it again, and it's time for us to go. Isn't that beautiful? So easy to manipulate people with video editing. And then I forgot about this. This was initially the end of the video.
Oh, yet? Because there is a lot of them. But I can't wait to find out.
The series that brought women to the front line.
If you know, you know. Alright, that is everything. Thank you very much for watching. And again, yeah, let me know if you find it interesting, or if I didn't go into anything that seemed interesting and I just skipped over it because I can't tell what's interesting. Let me know, and I'll answer any questions in the comments. Thanks.